Snow?
Our grandkids are in Portland.
Oh, okay.
So they're used to being cold, cold. So they come down here, if it's in the 60s, they think it's, great weather.
Right, this is like perfect.
Yeah.
Let's hit the beach. And no, we used to live in Lake Tahoe and cold country, but I tell you what, you get, your body gets used to it. Oh, yeah. So it's it takes a while. So
I could live my life at 73 degrees. To me, that would be the perfect temperature. Yeah. But I like 70, it's like not too cold, not too hot. It's just good.
A lot of you are and you're not
Leave the
like
windows open, fresh, The window open period is so small here because it's either cold or it's hot.
Well, see, we just live over here on Gold River, so we north south, so we get that bridge, so we don't get the sliding button and it comes through, it's so nice.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting for April 13th, 2023, for the Area Recreation and Park District Board to order at 6:30. And we will go ahead and have our pledge the flag led by Division 8 Board Member Edward Murphy. And we'll do your part, ready to begin. I
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So, roll call, please. Yeah. Division 1, Kim Gerald Johnson here. Division 2, Jose Luis Felinas. Division 3, Rebecca Rickles Burns. Division 4, Edward Pascual. Division 5, Ross Leja.
Here.
Are there any presentations or recognitions tonight? No. Okay, then we will go to public comments, and we have one public comment not on an item on the agenda tonight, and this is Gary Cox.
Good evening, Madam President, Board. It's been a while since I've been here. I went to a water board meeting my wife and I did recently to ask them about the property for the park and see where that was, where the negotiations were. And I guess they had the property appraised, the 2.77 acres in Marilona. And then they said that you guys had the property appraised also. But the appraisal, from my understanding, the appraisal that you guys had done was on a much smaller part of that 2.77 acres. And the two sides were so far apart that it all seemed irreconcilable. So my question, I guess, the appraisal from you guys was smaller because there's a part of the park that on a rare occasion could be used for water collecting from their tank that they drain like once every 30 years. But that didn't make sense to me how you would eliminate so much property on the appraisal just because of that. So I just wanted to know if that was where we're at and if that's something you could talk about, because they seem like, they're so far apart right now, it's not going to happen, which is very disappointing because it seemed like things kind of were rolling along. Anyway, that's what I want to find out from you guys.
Well, as you know, we can't answer and talk about. I highly recommend either emailing or calling Mr. DeGuid, our general manager, and he can give you all the details. I will say that what you're saying is not entirely what occurred. And so I think the best person to talk to would be Mr. DeGuid, and he can give you all the details about what occurred. He is in another room tonight, but he, is available. And Loretta, either you can call the front desk or Loretta can give you a number. And I think that would be the best way for you to find out all the information, the best way for that to happen.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Okay. So our next item is our consent calendar. Does anyone have any questions on any item on the consent calendar? Okay, do I have a motion?
move to approve the consent calendar.
Second, one second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next is 5.1, request for use of the Rick Thompson Arena for the Rupa Valley Pro Rodeo. Mr. DeGuay, are you going to be giving us a report on that?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, I've been exiled to my office here because I've been fighting a cold, so I apologize. But this is an important item I want to make sure that we're able to present. As the board knows, we have a request from the Rupa Valley Pro Rodeo to bring back the rodeo this year in June. The rodeo last took place in 2018 here at the Rick Thompson Arena. So what's before us is a sample of the agreement we've used in the past for the rodeo. There are a couple changes that have been made to it, one of which at the recommendation of Capri is the insurance has been raised to $5 million with a $10 million aggregate. That is more that's been in the past, but because of the high volatility of this type of event, that was the recommendation. Other than that, a lot of the requirements within the agreement have stayed the same or very similar. The hold harmless agreements have been updated with current verbiage, but that's about it. I know there is quite a few members of the rodeo committee here that are available for questions. They do have a valid 501c3 through AK Bucking Bulls. They have submitted a facility use for the arena and the Rupa Community Center for various events and activities that would be requested for the group. So, but that I'd be available for any questions, as well as, I don't know who wants to speak on behalf of the rodeo, but they would be available as well.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the board, this would not be the time we would talk about this, but do you have any clarifying questions that you want to ask before we take public comments? Seeing no one? Okay, we'll go to public comments. I have 3 people here who still their forms. I don't know if there's a specific person that wants to get up and initially address this, or I have Stacy, I have Laura, and I have Mike. Who wants to get up and answer questions or tell us about it? Apparently you do.
Well, because they all pointed fingers.
Yeah.
And we followed by a short one, so.
Yeah.
So we are a committee, and we have undertaken this ginormous task to bring rodeo back. We think it's very important as part of the culture and the history of Urupa Valley that we have the rodeo. So a lot of us, look, this is the first time we've been doing this, but we've been busting our and that to put everything in place and everything else. So we're coming before the board, which thank you for what you guys do, much appreciated. A couple of things. One of the things that we would like to request. Let me step back a little bit. Not only are we interested in putting the rodeo on each year moving forward, but we've talked amongst us and everything, and we would love to partner with the Parks and Rec Department to rehab Rick Thompson Arena, to upgrade it, to help, bring more events to that. In fact, Mike from AK Bucking Bulls is here. He holds events and everything. We would love to get the arena up to where he could hold those events here in the Urupa Valley and encourage more events and more usage of that arena and more pride in that. So we would like also part to do that. One of the things that we would also like to ask is that right now we all know that the arena grounds is in really poor shape. It's going to take a lot of work between now and the rodeo to get the arena up to PCR standards. And so we would ask that that the board waive the water fees for this event. Because we would, in order to get this arena up, you gotta water it and drag it and turn it over and water it. And so it's going to take a lot. And to be honest with you, that really is not in our budget. We don't know what those costs are going to be. So, and then the 2 days of the rodeo, we can't waive those fees. That's fine, which, because we're, we'll be there and that, you got people and the animals and that. But it was something that we would ask would help us We have a lot of sponsorships coming in. We think this is gonna be a great event, but we need help. You know, some help from the Parks and Rec and to do some of the, hopefully some of the rehab, but we're willing to go out and put in the physical and manual labor to do that. So if there's any fees that, you know, we can potentially waive, I don't know, lights or part of that, it would help us out tremendously. We are anticipating, we've got seating for just over 2,000. And with the pipe and some of the various events, we're looking at hopefully selling those out. So we're hoping that the community will get behind it too. And I think this will be, like I said, it'll be a good step in the right direction to show the community that no, the equestrian, the rural, the rodeo, it's part of who we are. You know, nobody's trying to do away with that. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. Board, you have any questions?
Yes, I'm new to Valley. Maybe I shouldn't say new anymore. Went on 5 years. So could you give me just a little history? How long has your organization been founded?
Well, so this committee, we actually just took over the rodeo committee. So, but they've been putting on rodeos for 20 years, I was gonna say 20 years and
Was it in the seventies?
or longer.
Yes,
It's
the
started-
original rodeo
Right.
happened in the 70s from the West Riverside Business Association. And they were the founding of the rodeo. It went on for almost 40 years before it kind of fell to the wayside due to economic stress and communities not wanting to be involved. Then it got resurrected again back in 2016.
Mhm.
It was resurrected by Lori Bakewell, who was part of the old committee. And then it fell due to COVID in 2019. And then we decided to resurrect it again.
And when is your rodeo planned to be?
The
June 9th and
9th
June
10th.
10th.
9th and 10th, June 9th and 10th. It's always the second weekend of June.
Of this year?
Mhm.
And we made some requests in terms of putting some TLC to it. Do you think you have sufficient time to?
We have committed that if it takes us every day in the evening or whatever to do that, absolutely. And if we could partner with some of the park maintenance folks to help us do this, so yes, we do. We've got a couple, we'll verify with Colby and that to make sure, but we've got, I believe, 2 large truckloads of arena sand so that we can bring it in for the actual rodeo arena itself. So that footing and everything will be up to standards. And that, which will also minimize the risk of any potential incidences.
Which was going to lead to my next question, so I think you've answered that. It sound like you have definitely the background to it, so that I have no knowledge of, but I'm feeling confident of what you just shared, so thank you.
Right. So each member of this committee, I mean, they've been tremendous. They've had the background and the experience with putting on rodeos and working with PCRA and all of these types of things. So we got a very knowledgeable group. We've got people with expertise. I know my group, I'm also a member of California State Horsemen's Association Equestrian Trails Patrol here in Urupa Valley. And for when we had the rodeo the last 3 years, we were the ones, my group, facilitated the parking and that, which again, this year they will do that. So we have that experience with that. So each person has kind of their little niche and their expertise. And so we're putting it all together.
Yes?
Well, my first question would be, I don't know if it would be for Mr. DeGuid or the members of the rodeo. The past water use bills, does anybody have an estimate of what those were or what they could be? Since we're being asked to waive that?
Unfortunately, no. So one of the challenges we have is going back when, at the heyday of the rodeo, at the same point, there was also active community user groups. You had regular shows taking place at the arena. So there'd be 4 or 5 different shows every month going on. The arena footing was in much better shape. So prepping for the rodeo was not as challenging as it is right now. We don't have the greatest water pressure at the arena. So for watering the arena just on a nightly basis type of deal, to go out there and take the tines and rip it up, we can support that. But for the rodeo itself, even when they bring in livestock the week before, from that point on, they're gonna have to bring in a construction meter for filling the water truck and stuff. It's just, we just physically cannot keep up with trying to fill the water truck. We tried that back in 2018 and it just did not work. I don't, if it's the board's decision to waive the water fees, I don't see a problem with that. It's something we could most likely absorb within the current operating budget, but that would be a decision from the board. This has just been a stipulation that's been in the contract for the last couple of years.
Thank you.
What I would suggest is, up until the point that you need to get the construction meter, I don't have a problem with waiving those water fees at all, because after all, what you're gonna be doing is, like Colby said, the footing in the arena is not what it would normally be, that you would need. You're gonna be working to do that, and I think we can work with you and not charge. I would support not charging the water fee. Once you get your construction meter, I gotta be honest with you, I think at that point, that's a question for the Community Services District. We're not the water providers, they are.
Right.
And maybe they might want to support the rodeo by helping waive some of those costs.
So we can go to the water board and.
That's to me what, so we will pay for the water to get the footing back to where it needs to be. But once your livestock and your people show up, I think, and you have to get that construction meter, then I think that that's something to have a discussion with JCSD. That's my. Anybody else?
That sounds perfectly
Yeah,
reasonable.
that's a recommendation, yeah.
For me, logistically, you mentioned 2,000 people are gonna be coming in. What's the parking situation?
So we use the middle school, their athletic field, which we've requested that. I know the last year that we did it, I think we were able to squeeze, it was about 600 cars in there. And plus a lot of people will park down and around and walk in, and you got the people in the neighborhoods that walk in. And you figure, a lot of times they'll bring 2, 3, 4 people in the car. So.
Yeah, and that accommodates a lot of people parking.
Right,
But some people don't want to pay for parking, so they park out on the street or.
right.
I don't really recall parking being a major
No.
throughout the years, because I've attended quite a few years, both pre-COVID and, so I don't remember parking being that big.
No, it's not. And so in my group, ETP, we would, up until we started doing it over here, we used to do all the parking for Norfolk Rodeo. So we had like 6 parking lots and collected money and did all of that stuff. So we have that experience in doing that. And we were able to, keep them moving in that. So
So the estimate of 2,000 people that you.
we're hoping, we have 2,000, we have just over 2,000 seats. And so, in a lot of the neighboring, the small, rodeos have been selling out. So, that's our goal. That's what we're shooting for. And then we've got vendors and we've got the, informational booths for community groups and that, so.
Mr. DeGood, waiving the light fee was mentioned as well. Is that feasible for us also?
Can we split it with you?
My concern is not for the rodeo itself. The 2 nights of the rodeo for the lights is nothing. I think that really just depends on the time frame of when your volunteers would be out during the week, the month ahead of it, prepping the arena. They're going to come in at 8 o'clock at night, work till midnight type of a deal. Do we have to burn all the lights? Can we turn some of the poles off during those prep times? If that's something the board wants to do, I think there's something we can do to mitigate it, meet in the middle, as Ms. Schultz is talking about. I don't think you need all the lights on for prep in the arena per se.
No, and Mr. DeGroote, our goal is to do it during after, in the late afternoon evenings before it gets dark.
In that case, there would be, basically no light usage during the week leading up to it. And then, the couple nights of the arena, that'd be the board's decision. I can look back and pull past information, what it cost. But it's not a lot of money.
So, bottom line, it is doable.
And then, if we do, if we can work it out, if there may be some evenings that we do need 1 or 2 poles, we'll approach the board and let you know, and we can work something out on that. But right now, we don't foresee that happening, but things change.
No, yeah, completely understandable. Ideal world, you're here from 4 to 7:30, go home for dinner still. But, I know what it's like for a special event leading up to it and that last minute kind of panic, making sure everything's ready. If that's something the board wants to entertain, I would just recommend that we ask the rodeo committee to be as conservative as possible.
Absolutely.
One thing I did notice is the agreement doesn't mention the construction meter or the dates when that construction meter has to start being used. So I think that needs to be added to the MOU before everybody signs it. And also the fact that we're willing to let them use our water to prep the footing in the arena. Because I think those are both things we talked about tonight. We need to have that in here. I'm not sure if we need the electrical light thing in the MOU. Do we, does the board, fellow board members, how do you feel about that?
I think it's a good idea if we do.
Okay.
Because I think we've had discussions, so
Okay,
we seem to be agreeable to that.
okay, so then, Mr. DeQuinn, we also need to add that we are willing to pay for the lights for the 2 nights of the rodeo.
On the MOU.
Pay for the lights on the 2 nights of the rodeo and any other time as negotiated between staff and the rodeo committee. How's that? Okay, everyone? Okay.
And then President Johnson, I was just brought to our attention, apparently on the contract, it says the dates for the actual rodeo, the 10th and the 11th. So we need to correct that to the 9th and the 10th.
Oh, it's right on ours.
Oh,
It says 9th and 10th on ours.
I think the draft you guys received ahead of time had
okay. All right, we just wanted to make sure.
And I want to make sure that you're okay with the dates because it says on page 1 at the bottom, dates and times, blah, 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 blah. It says the following dates have been provided for this facility. It says June 1 through June 18, with the rodeo being the 9th and the 10th. Is that correct?
As far
coming
right now, Jen, is that
We may need to ask for possibly the last week of May for grandstand setup.
Is that an issue, Mr. DeQuitt?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what was said.
Oh, she said they may need to ask for grandstand setup the last weekend in May.
Yeah, that would not be an issue. We don't have anything else pending there. Typically, they've come in like Memorial Day weekend
And put up the grandstands? Okay.
stands. Do you guys, we could talk about this afterwards. I think one of the biggest issues we've had in the past is when they come and physically tear down the grandstands. One year they were there for almost another 3 weeks.
Our contract with the grandstand company has them tearing down the week immediately following the rodeo.
Okay. Did you hear that, Mr. DeQuitt?
I didn't hear all of it.
Okay. She said their contract with the grandstand committee has them pulling the grandstands down the week after the rodeo.
Okay, so by the following Friday type of a situation,
yes?
Yes.
that's perfect.
What they do is they were leaving them there until they wanted to move them to another event. And it's like, no, we're not storing.
Yeah, no, our contract with them states when they'll be turning it down.
Okay, so I can just go over this again. So we're going to approve we're going to approve us paying for all water usage minus the construction meter, which the rodeo committee will have to negotiate with the JCSD. That's correct. And we will pay for the lighting for the 2 nights of the event. Any other lighting needs to be negotiated at that point between the rodeo committee and Mr. DeGwitt. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Right,
Okay, I'm good with that.
okay. And that once you get that construction meter, that's your water.
Right,
Our water stops being used at that
we'll
point.
get it the Monday after.
Yeah.
How's that?
Right. Whenever. Okay. I'm ignoring. I'm just kidding. So Mr. DeWitt, you got that? That's the changes that need to be made?
Yeah, I've got those. I'll verify with Mr. Owen as well as taking notes. I just wanted to make one last comment here in regards to one of the comments Ms. Schultz made leading into this. The intention of the rodeo, even when it came back in 2016, was to come back and do improvements to the RT arena. That was one of the main goals of that. After the first 2 years, it was obvious that it just wasn't going to be feasible at that point. So we removed that verbiage from the agreement at that point. And this first year coming back, we opted not to add that verbiage to the agreement because it's going to be a struggle to show a profit the first year, frankly, any year after that. But that would be verbiage we would look at moving forward based on their finances.
So and if I can, so we have talked, it's not just with the rodeo and the profits there. We were talking about going out and doing some fundraising outside of the rodeo for some of those improvements. So we can talk about that. That's what I want to we want to make sure. We got a whole brand new committee. We are committed to improving and, upgrading these facilities because they're so important to the community. So we would, outside of what the rodeo, we would be doing some other fundraisers for those items.
And again, just to add to it, maintenance staff, now that hopefully the rain is over, has a plan that the RT arena, the building is going to be painted in the next couple of weeks. We actually, in preparation for the rodeo, the electrician was actually out today confirming all the lighting is working. So it is a functional facility, and the board has talked about the replacement of the arena fencing at RT Arena. And that's something that we will potentially be working on here in the next year as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? For you, please? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Are we all in agreement with what we talked about? It's all good. All good? Okay, someone want to make a motion then?
I move the board of directors approve facility use agreement with the Hooper Valley Pro Rodeo for the 2023 rodeo related activities with the discussed changes.
Okay. Mr. Castellan, second. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Or is it closed? Oh, no, are you one of the people that's on here?
Yes.
Oh, okay, are you Stacy? Yeah. Okay, yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sure, so I don't know if they could see me or not.
Oh, we can.
With us having a rodeo and all this, after the rodeo, we would like to bring some youth sports to the arena, like, AK Buck and Bulls. It's a youth bull riding, we would love to do some, bull riding here with the kids. We also would like to bring maybe, in some junior barrels after the rodeo, just to get the use of the arena. Bring in some, youth, so, because people like to see youth sports. I mean, my daughter played, Hoopa rec ball ever since she was 6. My son, likes the AK Buck and Bulls. He's a hometown cowboy. So I'm hoping that you guys will let us use the arena after the rodeo for some of our youth events. And I don't know if we would have to come to you guys to do like a youth bull riding or a youth barrel. I'm just trying to, get some information on that.
Right, I think the person you need to speak to is Mr. DeWitt, and he
Okay.
can explain to you the process, but yes, you would have to come to us to use the arena.
Okay, okay. And then also too, we were thinking about having a Hoopa Pro Rodeo night out, May 20th. Would like to support the Parks and Rec on that too. We were trying to have it at the, in the parking lot, but I forgot that it's really dark there at night. So we're gonna probably request maybe the softball field here in Agate if possible, but I'll talk to Cody about it too.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to speak on half of the rodeo.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, the next item is the membership agreement with the River Valley Chamber of Commerce. Mr. DeWitt?
Yes, the item before us, as you said, is the membership agreement with the Chamber of Commerce. Starting last year, the district essentially traded services. The Chamber of Commerce providing us with a platinum level membership in exchange for use of Skyview Event Center for 3 events. Throughout the year, they have submitted those events to us. Their annual awards and installation dinner is in July. The August 26th is their second annual job fair. And then September 26th is the State of the City address. Except this was something we did last year. It was a very successful partnership. And the Chamber of Commerce has requested to continue it this year, and staff thinks it's a great partnership.
Are there any questions? Okay, I had a couple questions. One was, Mr. DeWitt, I was unclear about the dates because it says it's for 2023, but obviously we are in month 4 of 2023. So I don't know if you can answer that question, or I know Mr. Byrne is here.
I do know, and Mr. Byrne, correct me if I'm wrong, but our membership doesn't necessarily run a standard calendar year. It's from basically the day you join to the following year. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. So you guys are in line with I don't know offhand, but the rotation is
Whatever
Yes.
whatever it's going to end this year.
Yes, well, we started the original agreement. We did our 3 events after that time, so you're probably perfectly in line.
So it's really for 2023, 2024.
Okay.
And then what was my other question? Oh, well, it's not so much a question, never mind. Are you done, Mr. DeWitt?
Yeah, unless you have any questions for me or Mr. Byrne.
Mr. Byrne?
I just want to say thanks. It's great to hear that the Thompson Arena is being fixed up. I think Skyview is a gem that we have that's new, and I think events like the chamber event that we're doing, we're showcasing what can be done. The type of events I know Eastville does their State of the City, or at least their installation events, as well as the Skyview Event Center. As an event promoter, I'm glad to see new events coming up. Excited about the ones we're doing from the chamber with Skyview. It's a great facility. I like to see that the event center become that as well. So just kind of really excited how things are growing. I think coming out of COVID's, everyone's hungry to do some things. This is officially the time we can do things. And just want to say thank you for everyone here at the Park District being more than happy to help us out, bend over backwards at times to get what we need done at that facility. So thank you.
Thank you. I guess I had one question. I guess it was sort of. The one thing I did notice that was not in the agreement was what if something happened in an event couldn't happen. And I was wondering if we should put something in there just so that we're all on the same page about like, if you cancel an event more than 2 months out, then you can reschedule it. But if it's closer than 2 months, we may not be able to reschedule it.
I think that'd be fine. I mean, just to let you know how we work, we're pretty much stuck with the exception of the State of the City. If current mayor Chris Bras wanted to change something, that would only be the reason why we would change the event date. But the other ones were pretty solid on. So I would be open to just have that kind of verbiage in there just because it's a safe contract that way.
Yeah. We just don't want, a month ahead or something.
Of
Just
course,
makes it difficult
understood.
for staff.
I know. No, so that's fine. I'm being open to that.
Okay, thank you.
So just to make sure I understood what was said is if the chamber cancels the event 60 days or more, they can reschedule. If it's less than 60 days, there's no rescheduling, or
We want to say no rescheduling, we say it may not be able to be rescheduled. This may not be, I don't know, how do you want to put it? Be available?
Yeah, I feel more comfortable with
There be notice for
the availability being possible.
rescheduled only if available.
That's the other part.
Maybe how about we say we reschedule only if available.
okay.
How's that sound?
That's fine.
Is that okay, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, do I have a motion then?
I move the board of directors accept the platinum level membership of the River Valley Chamber of Commerce for 2020
I second that.
With changes, the change as suggested?
with a change as suggested.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's 2023, 2024. Okay. Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number 5.3, approval of the administrative assistant human resources job description. Pretty good.
Yeah, my voice is starting to go, so I'm gonna be as quick as possible. As the board is aware, in our current operating budget, we approved a special projects analyst. We have gone out for recruitment twice now and been unsuccessful in finding a candidate that was a good fit for the district here. With the recent onboarding of 28 recreation staff, it has become very apparent that we need a dedicated person in the HR department per se within the district. So we are recommending changing the approval of admin assistant, human resources, and replacing the special projects analyst. We're currently at 65 plus employees, and Loretta, we're going to be at 80 by this summer, I'm assuming.
Yeah, once the lifeguards come on.
Yeah, so it's quickly becoming a dedicated position to assist both Loretta and Zena during the onboarding process. And then just the day-to-day keeping up of all the related responsibilities. So this is something that staff's requesting. It would be a slight salary savings to the district over the course of a fiscal year.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. DeWitt on this matter?
Yes, what's the current structure of our HR within the Parks District?
You're looking at Loretta. Most of that falls between Loretta and Miss Whitney, our recreation manager. And one of the reasons it became so obvious was during that onboarding process, Zena was for almost 2 weeks basically not able to do anything else. And we need her focusing on her managerial duties in the recreation division to keep that fully functioning here.
As I read through the job description, are we open to revisiting it somewhat? Some of the verbiage I thought is more clerical than I think it need be. To your point, a dedicated person. Also, part of the requirement was some degree in the field, but not required. I would see that more as a required. There were several items on there that I just thought we need to be more specific to. And the analyst position in terms of data and status, I think could be brought into a more of a generalist position. That being that the position itself would be called a human resource generalist as opposed to analyst.
Mr. DeWitt, we talked about this at our meeting. Since your voice is going, you want me to talk about it?
If you would not mind, I would appreciate.
So this person is not designed to be the person, like, let's say you're having trouble with, your PERS coming out of your paycheck, your retirement, or you're having a problem with your health insurance. This is not the person you would go to. What this person would be doing is the more clerical aspects of hiring and keeping people on, which is helping them get the paperwork done. Well, for example,
Yeah, I was correct in reading it down. Yeah.
yes, she is the clerical person doing all that paperwork that has to be done. And I think probably that person, I say she or he would also be doing like some of the initial training, all that basic training that everyone has to go through about how to use the clock in. Yes, all of those kinds of things. So you were reading it correct. It was not supposed to be our HR person. It was just supposed to be someone to assist Loretta and Miss Whitney in doing all of that paperwork and all of that clerical stuff, putting it out there to, getting the job descriptions out there to hire people and all of that just takes so much time. Scheduling, yes. Oh,
That's correct. Scheduling interviews, making sure people are up to date on their training, contacting them if they've fallen behind. processing the paperwork, scheduling physicals and those types of things would be a major of this.
So if I could ask the HR, as you said, the depth of the HR, that already handled the being hard here. Is there something that we can, I know when the workers' comp came about and we were told about it, that is referred to Capri. So most HR issues or concerns or anything in depth goes to Capri. Is that correct? So I just thought, if we could have, we would know, the board know more about how many workers' comp we had in a quarter. I don't think we have enough information. Maybe we don't need it, but right now I suggest that it'd be a good time to use this person that we would call the analyst. And if they would be able to tell us on a quarterly basis, how are we in HR, in the arena of HR?
I'd like to clarify, the title is Administrative Assistant Human Resources, the word analyst.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The analyst was a position we're no longer gonna offer.
Oh, I see. So that.
So there is a distinction between that, so this is a little less. More clerical, it's not more clerical, less managerial, yeah.
What Ms. Byrne is requesting is maybe a quarterly update on workplace injuries and workman's comp claims. That would be something that we could very easily do as a receive and file. And that's something we should be doing on a ongoing basis anyways. And that's something that we could, create a standard report on. But in regards to any workman's comp claims, all those are handled through our workman's comp through Capri. But even with that, there's a lot of paperwork on our end that we have to scan and copy and stuff like that.
Right.
That would fall under this position as well.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if you're good with this, does someone want to make a motion?
The Board of Directors approve resolution 2023-07, approving the job description for administrative assistant human resources.
We have the roll call.
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was so concerned we got that roll call in. I do. Okay, Ron Slater,
Yes.
Rebecca Rejoice-Ebert,
Yes.
Jose Luis Medina,
Yes.
Kim Jones, aye, and Edgar Custis. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, very good. Mr. DeGuere, item 6.1 is your general manager's report. I'm kind of making an assumption that maybe you don't want to do that tonight.
I've got 3 quick things and I can suck it up.
Okay.
I just want to congratulate the staff and thank all the board for coming out to the spring fling back on April 1st at Shadow Rock. It was a phenomenal event. I'm very proud of the product that we put together. Today was the senior health fair at the senior center. Debbie and Morelli out there put on an awesome event. They had about 14 different vendors providing all kinds of different health related services for the seniors. And they had over 100 people come through the event, which was a great turnout. And then this Saturday is our second annual Meet the Machines, which will be at the Vernola Park parking lot. And we have 14 different vendors for that. Our vendors or displays that will be available there. And that's a free event to the public.
Thank you. Okay, we'll look at word comments. I'll start with you, Mr. Legion.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the spring fling. I thought it was a fantastic event. I'm looking forward to taking my grandchildren to Meet the Machines on Saturday. It's so rare that they're in town when we have an event, so I'm looking forward to this. And this is really coming up with my favorite time of year here at the parks where, we're getting our concerts in the park schedule. We're getting all these things for all our good, great summer events scheduled and getting going. And it's just a great time to be here. So for this, looking forward to all of it.
Thank you, Mr. Castellano.
Yeah, shout out to staff as well for the spring fling. I wasn't able to attend, but I know that it was a huge success. So huge shout out for that as well. And also glad to see that our market night Tuesday is coming back. For some reason, it always happens to be windy. Well, last time, so but I'm glad to see those as well. And looking forward to Meet the Machines on Saturday. And lastly, thank you as well for the residents for coming out and speaking on the rodeo and the other concerns that y'all brought up. That'll be it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Godinez?
Yes, thank you to staff again for spring fling. I was able to be there. I think that's the most sun I've gotten in the past year. It was a lovely day. Definitely need to work on our market nights. We just can't control the weather, but hoping they'll be able to take off as we go on with the year and meet the machines. Looking forward to that. Probably won't be there because I have to work Saturday, but I know that's always a good event since we started it. And yeah, thank you guys for coming out and supporting us, and hopefully we can grow in our relationship with the community. Thank you.
Ms. Byrne?
Yes, ditto to all, but I'm really excited about this rodeo. You all sound very enthusiastic, and if this is the heart of Harupa, and I've heard it many times, that I think you're really bringing something back to life, and we certainly want to be a part of it in whatever fashion we can. So please do come to us as you've done to us today, to any other growth that you see. And thank you for the person that we couldn't see you. We heard you loud and clear. At least I did, and I know that the rest of us did. As to what your plan is, sounds like a good plan, and we want to be there for you. So thank you.
And last but not least, yes, thank you all for coming tonight. I'm so glad that we can partner with a new rodeo committee to bring the rodeo back. 1979, I was out selling icy cones to people in the stands for a club at Riverdale High School. So yeah, I have a long history as well with the good old rodeo. Obviously a memory I've never forgotten. And so I look forward to it again. I look forward to going to it. I also went to the spring fling, and kudos to staff. We try to make these events better and better with each passing time. And I just really felt like the spring fling was an event that just really pinged the scale, and that we're really reaching that point where we want these events to be. And that was very exciting to see. I was going to mention a couple of things. Mr. DeWitt actually mentioned one of them earlier, which is those arena fences. We had that meeting with the folks out at Larimore, and we've talked about, redoing the fences, the arenas. I'm hoping now that we're not doing any park construction, maybe we can circle back around to getting those things done. And I also think that we need to circle back around, contact Cheryl Schmidt and make that rededication of the arena at Horseshoe Lake Park happen. I remember it had been named for a lady whose name is escaping me right now, but pardon?
Ellen Kleinbeck.
Thank you. Yes, Ellen Kleinbeck, and we need to rededicate that arena to her and put up a sign with her name and make sure we contact her family and all of that to make that happen. So that was all that I had. As you can see, we have attached to the agenda tonight the Park Trails and Arenas Planning Committee minutes. And Mr. DeWitt, do we have any future committee meetings that we need to worry about?
Do we want to get together one more time here on the arenas and trails? I would like to bring the agreement to the district, to the board meeting in 2 weeks if possible. And I think I have the answers you guys have been asking. So if we could meet early next week, that'd be great.
The agreement. Oh, the master plan. Yeah, that would be fine.
Questions, yeah.
Yeah, I'm available, you're available after when? When do your grandchildren?
Oh, they're leaving Monday.
Okay, so maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that.
Yeah, I'll get a hold of both of you tomorrow to schedule that.
Okay, that's great. And any agenda items for future board meeting? Not seeing any upcoming meetings. Our next meeting is April 27th here. And I will go ahead and adjourn our meeting at whatever time it is.
7:19.
Thank you. 7:19. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.